Do you know what today is? It's White History Wednesday. Hey, how you doing? It's your girl MiashaLamis, and for those of you who are new here, it's White History Wednesday. White History Wednesday was specifically made for the people who said, "Why do Black people need a whole month to tell their history?" And for that, I give you 52 days. Every Wednesday, you ready to hear it? Here it go. So in Willie Lynch's How to Make a Slave, which was in 1712, he clearly stated, right? Make the light hate the dark, make the old hate the young, turn the women against the men, break the family, and control the minds, and you will never need chains again. Now, I can go on a deep dive into this, but as you can see today in 2025, make the light hate the dark. We already know that's been a thing. Okay, Caucasian people have disliked people of color for forever. Like they didn't like each other at first. We talked about that. Make the old hate the young. You see, we got people out here. We call the little boys YNs, and a lot of older people are afraid of them. When in actuality, they probably just misunderstood. I don't know. We're not gonna go that deep into it right now. Turn the women against the men. Y'all already know there's a silent war going on between women and men, and women, especially Black women, feel like Black men don't have our back, and that's something that we need to sit down and discuss. But this is something that was all created. It was designed for it to be this way so that they would never be need chains again. Essentially, it's enslaved the mind, and pretty much we become the our own oppressors. White History Wednesday. So I want to talk about the SAT because I remember when I was in school, a lot of people was like really stressed out, like, oh, I gotta pass the SAT, I gotta do this. Again, another design to try to make us feel inferior. So the SAT was created in the 1920s by a eugenist by the name of Carl Brigham. Okay, and he created this test to filter people out, if you will. Okay, he believed that if he created the right test, it would keep other people out of the elite schools. The test was designed to give Caucasian people a leg up and prove that other people are incompetent. Other people, Black people, which we all know we have a lot of people who are acing the SAT. It was never about how smart you was. It was to prove that they are better than us. White History Wednesday. I want to talk about something that happened more recently, but it's still a history because it was about a year ago, okay? So, a 40-year-old man by the name of Paul Bittner randomly punched an 11-year-old Black boy in the face on June 12th in 2024, okay, in Bellingham, Washington. The boy suffered fractured tooth and a nose injury, and Bittner was yelling racial slurs at him, called him an N-word and all of that. Now, I brought this up because Bittner only got 3 years for assault of a minor. 3 years for the assault of a minor. White History Wednesday. Okay, so in Monroe, North Carolina, on October 28th, 1958, two Black boys, one 9 years old by the name of James Thompson and a 7-year-old David Simpson, was playing. They was just living their life being regular. Well, a little fast-tailed Caucasian girl came up and kissed them on the cheek. We wouldn't think this a big deal. In 2025, we smile about this. Not in 1958. They did not. It was not a cute thing. The little Caucasian girl went home bragging to her mom about how she kissed a Black boy, and her parents was not having it. They formed a mob. They went to the kid's house, right? They went to go pick these boys up, but the police actually got to the boys first. The police brutally beat these babies and then put them in jail. A 9-year-old and a 7-year-old went to jail for being kissed on the cheek. They did nothing. Their face was where it was supposed to be. That girl's lips was in the wrong spot. They went to jail and were beaten at 9 and 7 years old. White History Wednesday, because I just don't understand. In 1918, Mary Turner's husband was lynched for no reason. So at the time, what was going on was that a slave owner, which, if we being technical, this was 1918 and slavery ended in 1865. Anywho, a plantation owner was unalived by an African slave that he had. But what were you doing with an African slave when slavery ended? We're not going to go there. Anyway, so a mob was formed because this plantation owner's life was taken, and they just went around randomly killing black men, women, and children for no apparent reason. Among those people was Mary Turner's husband, right? So she found out about this. She figured out who all was a part of it, and she exposed them. And one thing we know about Caucasian people, they do not like their lies exposed, okay? So once she exposed them, right, and let me go ahead and make sure I get this right. They took her to the middle of Valdosta, Georgia, hung her, beat her, cut her stomach open, let the baby fall out, stomped the baby, and then pew-pewed her 60 times. White History Wednesday, because first of all, y'all didn't have to do that, period. But that was overkill. Y'all did all, and then still left her there to bleed out. White History Wednesday. So I know y'all know who J. Marion Sims is because we talked about them. That's the father of gynecology, as they say. He experimented on all these black women and said that we don't feel pain, and that's why they got the gynecology stuff that they have today, because of all of his experiments on black women. Well, he has some more experiments that people don't talk about a lot, and these experiments involve children, specifically black children. So now we know it as neonatal tetanus, but it was called something else. He made up a name and called it something else. But he thought he had the cure by using a shoemaker's tool, where he poked these kids in the head, poking holes, trying to rearrange their brain to cure them. And he had 100% mortality rate. They don't talk about that, but they gave him a statue and all. White History Wednesday, because ain't no way. Now, in the early 1900s, they had human zoos in Paris, London, Milan, Barcelona, St. Louis, New York, and a few other places. Now, when I say human zoo, it don't let your mind wonder, because it's exactly what I'm saying it is. It's a human zoo filled with black, Asian, and indigenous people that were caged and displayed in their natural habitats. What is natural about humans being White History Wednesday? Y'all have a great day.
Maya Lee, back with the heat. White History Wednesday, she posting receipts. Fuck your feelings, she only spitting facts. Sis dropping knowledge while we fade to black. White lies, no alibis, reap what you sow. Black history hit different when the truth unfolds. Talk is cheap, pay us what you owe. Never been our friend, always been our foe. Old white hood, new red hat, change the color of your hate. We still proud and black.